Hey y'all, Cody here from Dungeon Mechanic. Today we're gonna roll on some tables and get our creative engines all revved up. Why don't you come dungeon craft with me? So dungeon craft with me, we're going to roll on some tables. We're gonna roll on creature tables to figure out what kind of inhabitants we're dealing with here. We have locations to figure out where this room is going to sit. Contents to help us figure out if there's a hostile encounter already or maybe some treasure. And then also some miscellaneous tables to help us better craft some of these experiences. So first up, we have creature types. So we've got this table here. 1 through 14 are the types, and then 15 plus we re-roll. So let's see what we got. We got a 10. The 10, it's going to be a humanoid. All right. Now, humanoid's pretty broad. We'll keep it broad for now, but might want to come back to that later. All right, next up, we have locations. These location table courtesy of Flourish. Let's go ahead and roll this d20, see what we got. An 11. An 11 is an academy. Okay. Humanoid academy. Place of study, of knowledge. Now we need to think about the contents. So this table here is an abbreviated version of the one from the 5th edition Dungeon Master's Guide. So let's see what we got. Monster, monster treasure, trick trap, empty, or just treasure. And with an 11, we have trick trap. Cool. There we go. So some type of trick trap in a place of learning with humanoids in it. Now, let's think about this trick or this trap. Trick or trap. So trick is less dangerous than a trap. So, you know what? Let's leave it up to the dice. Okay, so odds, it's going to be a trick. Evens, it's going to be a trap. That's an even. So we're looking at a trap. Let's look at our trap types here. And pit, ranged, melee, spells, all kinds of fun stuff. Let's see. An 18, vents, sprays. All right, vents, sprays. Let's think about what might trigger this trap of vents and sprays. Things like stepping on a pressure plate or just walking into the room in general. 16. You know what? I'm rolling really high today. Here we go. 16, we've got proximity, magic. So through some magical proximity detection here. Interesting. Now, here's the fun part. Let's get into our flavors. So these are some different flavors for our vent, spray, trick, trap in this humanoid academy. Got a 1. Fiery. And that sounds like we've encapsulated a good amount of information regarding our trap. But let's think about the humanoids a little bit more. This might help us, shape what this academy is going to be. So we've got this ancestry table here. Let's go and roll on this and see what kind of humanoids we're talking about. 2, elf. So we have Elven Academy. There's a trick trap situation here with some vents and sprays that are triggered through magical means to produce a fiery encounter. So what we're going to do is we're going to stew on this for a little bit and get our gears turning and come up with some concepts. So got a couple ideas here. One is being a room in an elven college that's protecting some type of forbidden knowledge. So think like deep in the library, maybe there's a tome that's off limits that this trap encounter is kind of established to keep people away from. The other one I had is very similar. You know, it's booby trap, but it's more in an actual professor's office. So between these two ideas, I kind of like the professor's office a little bit more. It sounds like a fun opportunity to throw some encounter building in there. So we will now go start. Let's collect some notes as far as what we want this room and encounter to possibly look and feel like. And so I've got a little description here of the things that I like to keep in mind when creating a chamber. So things like the lights, smells, sounds, how you get in, how you get out, what the walls, ceilings, and floors look like. All of those things can help add to the immersion for your players. So, for this room in the Elven professor's office, we would imagine elves live a long time. There is, and just thinking about the physical structure of it, let's say the walls are made of ornately carved wood, ancient wood. The illumination here, this is a place of learning. They would want some light. Elven creatures tend to be magical. We could imagine that the academy itself, this professor's place, is supported through magical means. Our trap is a magical one, so the illumination here, we could say a perpetual flames adequately lighten the room. And we'll try to spell things right. There we go. So what would the smell of this place be? Let's think about our our elves. They can be a little stodgy, I guess. Stuffy for some. So if our elf is a professor, we're already kind of creating an NPC in our head here. So let's say there is the musky smell of old tomes fills the air. This is a professor's office, so there's obviously a door to get in. So we know there's a door. So let's say there's another wooden door with, let's go, brass fixtures. And it has silver filigree. That sounds fun. All right, so we've got walls, we've got lighting, the smell, how to get into it. Now, let's sort of decorate the room itself. So there would be a desk made of mahogany, wood, covered in. Oh, actually, so we're thinking our elf guy is a little stodgy, so their desk would probably be very organized. So we could say desk made of mahogany wood with papers and quills neatly organized. There's a plush velvet high back chair behind the desk. And for some fun flavor here, we need to think about our vent spray, our fiery trap here. So something's going to happen where the party is going to interact here and it's going to trigger that trap. So where is that trap going to come from? I'm thinking we put a fireplace in there and then flames shoot out from the fireplace. We could also have some wall sconces that are maybe part of the perpetual flames here. Ooh, I kind of like that a little bit more. So we could have the room, perpetual flames adequately light the room. These are wall sconces designed in the shape of a grotesque face with an open maw. Maw's a fun word. Okay, so... all right, for our notes here, we're going to say there is a hidden button under the desk that will open a secret door behind the false fireplace. So we know that there's a walk into this place, it's a professor's office. The walls are lined with these grotesque face that are open in there. There's a little bit of flame, so we've got some foreshadowing in there, which is fun. There's the musky smell of old tomes. The door we've described pretty well here. Parties love figuring out doors, so that's a good one to keep in. We know the desk is made of wood with papers, quills, everything sort of neatly organized. There's going to be a fireplace, like a hearth somewhere in here, and this plush velvet high-back chair behind the desk. Something in the room is going to trigger our wall sconces to spray at the party here. So we're going to clean this up a little bit into more narrative and design some encounter around it. All right, so we've taken our notes and have compiled it into a narrative to really set the scene. So a wooden door with brass fixtures and silver filigree stands before you. As you enter the room, the musky smell of old tomes fills the air. You see the walls of the professor's room are made of ornately carved wood, and wall sconces in the shapes of grotesque faces light the room with a perpetual flame burning in their open maw. A neatly organized desk fills the center of the room with quills and papers all neatly in place, a plush velvet high-back chair behind it. And a lit hearth at the back of the room keeps the temperature comfortable. So we've set the scene here. Now we can actually do a little bit of encounter designs to give our party some things to interact with. First, like I mentioned before, one thing parties love, they love a good door. Now we have to make the decision here. Do we want this door to be unlocked or locked? Well, I'm going to say the door is locked. And it's going to be I tend to design these things around a tier 2 party. Don't want to make it too hard, but still provide some challenge here. So we'll say it's a DC 14 Thieves Tool check to break in, or a DC 18 Athletics check to break the door down. Force it open. So, given a little bit of a barrier to entry there, we've set the scene with the smell, what the walls look like and everything. The party's going to come in here, they're going to think, well, I want to roll investigation or a perception check. So let's give them a little bit of information based on that. So, let's say with a DC 14 investigation, they find a button hidden beneath the desk. With a all right, so we need to somehow provide them clues to the sconces too. So investigation, this will be related to the desk. Say investigation sconces with a DC All right, so our trap is through magical means, okay? So let's say a DC 14 Arcana check. They find a link between the button and the sconces. They DC 16. Well, let's go 18 Arcana. They realize the sconces will blast fire. So we provide some tiers of information for them here, which is really nice. That's one thing that I like to build into my encounters that I do, where you sort of reward higher skills in that regard. There's another thing for them to investigate too, and that's the false hearth. So we'll say with a DC 18 investigation or Arcana, the hearth is revealed to be a secret passageway that must be unlocked through magical means. Spell things right. There we go. All right. So we've given them things to latch on to say, here you can investigate the desk. Here's information. When you look at the sconces, here's some stuff to know. And here's this false hearth in which you can find some means to trigger it. So there's a button, there is danger, and there is a reward with the opening of the secret passage. Now, if they hit the button, we're gonna blast them. Unless, oh, you know what? Let's make this a little bit of a puzzle, maybe. We can have 3 buttons. And so one of the buttons will, they can do an investigation check. Maybe that's what some of our Arcana check for the desk could do. It could help them decipher which button is the correct button to press. So there are 3 buttons under the desk. 1 and 2 will blast the party. 3 will open false hearth passage. Now, how do we help them determine that? We'll say a DC 18 Arcana to determine which button is connected to the hearth. And let's let them be able to disable the trap tools, or the traps here, the sconces. So there are DC 18 thieves tools to disarm the wall sconces. And you know what? Let's go ahead and throw some more fun stuff in here. We'll say, let's give them something if they're rooting around, what they can find. So we'll say, in the professor's desk, let's take a look at our behaviors. Let's see what item we can put in here. So just something interesting. That's a 7. There's a bone. So a bone. What kind of bone? Let's go back up to our creature types and see what we can find. That's a 6. An elemental bone. Ooh, a bone elemental. Okay. There are inside the professor's desk in a locked, I will just say a small box, are the remains of a bone elemental. And for some more flavor, let's get him into some trouble here. Let's say, and written in Sylvan, and a short scroll written in Sylvan. Who knows what that does? We'll leave it up to you. Okay, so here's what we've got going on. This is a fun one. So we have an elven professor's room. There is a secret door behind the hearth that can be unlocked through hitting the buttons there. If they fail, they will be blasted through these wall sconces of these grotesque face with flames shooting at them. Oh, we need to figure out how much damage that does. So, it's a trap. Let's say for the party, let's do a DC 14 dexterity save. On failure, let's do 1d8 fire damage. Okay, I think we've got something good here. All right. Let's call this room the Elven Professor's office. So, a wooden door with brass fixtures and silver filigree stands before you. It is locked. How do you enter? You can pick the lock with thieves' tools or try to force it open. As you enter the room, the musky smell of old tomes fills the air. You see the walls of the professor's room are made of ornately carved wood, and wall sconces in the shape of grotesque faces light the room with a perpetual flame burning from their open maw. A neatly organized desk fills the center of the room with quills and paper all neatly in place, and a plush velvet high-back chair behind it. A lit hearth at the back of the room keeps the temperature comfortable. As you investigate the desk, you find 3 buttons under it. Doing further investigation might determine if some of the buttons are good, some of the buttons are bad. There's an opportunity to do some other investigation of the sconces themselves. An Arcana check might reveal the link between the buttons and the sconces, and an even better one might realize that they will blast fire if the wrong button is pressed. And of course, you can try to use your thieves' tool to disarm the wall sconces. Finally, investigating the hearth will reveal that there is a secret passageway that must be unlocked through magical means. And as you root around the professor's desk, inside a small box are the remains of a bone elemental and a short scroll, a phrase written in Sylvan. And there you have it. That is our Elven Professor's office. Thanks again for joining me today and dungeon crafting with me. My name's Cody. Have a good one.